Connection is excellent. What kind of neat. Alright, this is going to be another spontaneous text stream basically. I'm testing out what kind of quality we can stream at. Mostly because 1080p is good, but if I want to show you close-ups, 2K is a little better. I doubt my internet can handle 4K. Let's make this live. Alright, what are we going to do? Public. Oh my god, it doesn't even fit. Oh, we got one viewer. What's up? We'll wait for a few more people to start showing up, and then I'll just kind of start doing the typical stream. I don't know if the content before, when I had this like unlive as I was testing it, but the quality should be much better. You should be able to actually watch in 2K. Hey, what's up, guys? So I don't know if you're on mobile or you're on desktop, but for the viewers that are here already, let me know if the audio and everything seems synced up. I know we had issues last time. I believe they are resolved right off the bat this time. I don't have a wireless mic, but I have a well, you can sort of see it. There's a shotgun mic, but I can change the levels if it's too loud or if it's clipping. It doesn't seem like it's clipping. I'm listening right now for a few minutes before we really get started. Good, but the quality, like I said, if you're on desktop, switch it to 2K. It should be a lot better. I don't think I can handle streaming 4K because my internet upload is like, I think 10 megabytes per second, which I think in theory it could support 4K, but I'd rather 2K and like it doesn't buffer or anything. So yeah. I guess for today's stream, I might do a little bit of like Anthurium seed prep. I think that's kind of boring. You guys have already seen that, but I'm going to repot some other plants, show you some plants, and we should be good to go. So I'm going to take these off for now. I don't think you guys need to, or I think the audio levels are good. The only thing is now when I do get up, I won't be able to, you won't be able to hear me like if I walk into the plant room to grab something. So I'll have to wait to talk then because I have like a, there you can see, I got like a shotgun mic that's just pointed at my face. So once I move it, unless I'm like directly in front of it, you're not going to hear it well. I'm trying to think how I can show you this plant because you can't really see it very well. Let's try and modify this. Back into this. Put it back a little bit. Might be a little better. It's a little better. All right, I always forget what this one is. Oh, I actually have this one tagged, which is very rare. So I'm gonna do a little bit of repotting today. We'll do some Anthurium seed prep, and I'll show you some other cool stuff. Yeah, this is actually a really cool plant. I really love this one. This one is Wildenowii, I believe is how you pronounce it. I got another squeaky chair, so sorry about that. And we don't have the, if you were here for last stream, we had like a follow camera, but I forgot to charge it. I forgot to also charge the wireless mic, which is why we're using a different mic setup, but I think that's okay. You can kind of see the messy desk here, but whatever. But anyways, this plant is Anthurium Wildenowii, and it's actually pretty darn cool, but it's getting a little too tall for this pot and pretty big for it, so I do want to repot it. It is flowering, which I'm a little nervous that I could ruin it, but I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot more flowers from here on out. Let's try and get that in focus a little better. Hard to tell. But yeah, I think repotting shouldn't affect the flower, and we'll find out if it does, because someone actually asked me recently on Instagram whether or not like repotting can like cause the plants to cast off the flowers or like abandon them, but I don't think it will, but we will find out firsthand after like a week if it does. So I'm gonna get some stuff in the pot this quick. Oh, I got some. Oops. I got some new plants today. Also, another thing, since the mic is on the table, it's kind of gonna pick up sound. If the noise becomes too much, let me know, and I can move the mic onto a different desk where it won't hit anything. Yeah, I should be able. No, you just got here, Pepe. Don't worry. This is actually a really early stream for me. My parents are watching my son right now, so we don't have to worry about him like waking up or causing chaos. Because if I could never do this during the day if he's here, because he runs around like directly above this area, and so you'll just hear him like toot, 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 like you can hear him running around. It's kind of funny, but it would be very noticeable, I think, on stream. So he's with my parents right now. His grandparents. He's having a blast. So we'll probably stream for maybe an hour or two. We'll see. So. Yeah, Duan Toro, I don't know when you're going to start watering and fertilizing, but I'm probably only going to stream for 2 hours. Eventually, I do have to go back to my family's house and pick up my child, so we'll see. We'll see how long we can go. But today I wanted to get some repotting done. I got a lot of anthurium and a lot of even philodendrons that are just getting way too big for their pots. So it might be a good opportunity for you guys to see some cool plants. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Maybe some stuff you haven't seen before. And some of it's kind of interesting. I got a few cool things to show you. So we'll start with this anthurium here. And again, our new experiment is this flower is about to like reproduce pretty soon, but we're going to see if repotting it will like ruin that. We won't know for a week or so, but you saw it here first, folks. Does this look like it's in focus for you guys? It should be. It's hard for me to tell. Actually, I can tell if I stand up. I think that's about as good as it's going to get, honestly, from what I can see. So yeah, usually with these plants, this one's actually really dry. But I just squeeze the plastic pots. I like plastic pots because it's a great way to like break the roots up. But yeah, it also is, let me put the live chat on. It's like top chat, whatever that is. But what? Oops, I'm clicking links here. I shouldn't click. Okay, so yeah. If you guys have any plant questions or any topics you want to talk about, just let me know. But otherwise, I'll just kind of show you some cool stuff. So this one's actually doing pretty darn good. It's got a pretty solid root structure. Maybe I didn't have to repot this one, but I don't like how it's getting pretty long here. So we can do this, I think. Okay. All right. A little darker, but you should still be able to see that. A lot of these like aerial roots aren't quite getting down to the soil in time. And I want to bury it a little deeper, especially like up here. Should be able to see this one. So I want to get a little deeper. And it's getting a little tippy. It's getting really tall. And this one actually will get pretty tall, so not a big deal, but I want to have like a little bit of a wider pot. All right, I think that's in focus. So I'm thinking we will use, does this look any bigger? Quite a bit bigger, a little bit deeper. Maybe not significantly. Oh, the other thing which I forgot to point out about this plant, which I always complain about, is I always overfill my pot. So I couldn't water this well because the water just run off the top because I didn't leave any space. So a new pot will be nicer, even if, because obviously it's not super saturated with roots. There's still plenty of like room to grow. But I wanted to get a deeper pot so that it can do its thing. Okay, so let's see what we got. Personal best fertilizer and or supplements. I've used Max C with pretty good success for a while. Haven't used it in a while, not because of any real reason. I tried some Dynagrow before. That seemed to work just fine. I mean, none of these, it's hard for me to quantify really if the fertilizers are good because I don't really notice like any explosive growth or like, it's never, any fertilizer I've ever tried has never been like so amazing that I've noticed it taking effect, but I've never seen it damage my plants, which is good. So I guess that's something to like think about. I have heard people actually complain about Max C and it like damaging stuff, but the other problem is with Max C, last time I checked, it used to be like 20 bucks for like a bucket or like a little canister of it, but it was like 60 bucks. Now, I think with like the whole like pandemic and like the plant craze, all these companies like really bumped up their price. And I highly doubt that their like cost to make it went up that much, maybe. But I feel like they're just taking advantage of the situation, who knows. Maybe a little less in here, so I'm just putting some dirt in the bottom here, nothing else, and just setting her in. Now I can kind of jam it down a little bit, fill it up, but not all the way. because that's what I complain about most. And then we can just put soil down the sides. So I've been using Osmocote, which is like, I think Osmocote's been around for a long time. It's nothing like amazing or special, but it's slow release, and they have like a promise it will never burn. So it's kind of nice because you shouldn't be able to burn your plants with Osmocote. Also, let me know if we're getting some ASMR qualities here, because like I said, the microphone is resting on this table, so it might be picking up a little too much noise. And if it is, I will simply move it. So yeah, Matt, that's exactly what I'm going to try and do this time, is leave some, like an inch so I can overflow. But it's already feeling like not deep enough. I might switch. I don't think I have a pot that deep. That's not cool. Maybe I can only leave a half inch. A half inch is better than no inch, because earlier I had nothing. It's just the water runs off the top. Especially if you use peat moss. So that's something that kind of sucks about peat moss, is once it dries out, it's like really hydrophobic actually. So if you let your plants dry out a little too much, which I do often, like suddenly it won't absorb water easily, and that's when it really runs off the top and drives me absolutely wild. Because then it gets all over the floor, and like it's not a big deal because it's in the basement, but I still don't like it. But here it seems alright. I think we're good this time. Do you sell any? I don't sell anything yet. I think eventually I will want to, but it's like, when you start selling stuff, you actually have to like be reliable. And the problem with me is I'm not very reliable, so I don't want to. It's the Midwestern Plant King. That's hilarious. Yeah, I don't know how many other Midwestern plant people are out there, but maybe I'll take the title of king. That's kind of cool. Although I still make way too many mistakes, I think, to be considered king. So maybe not king yet. Maybe the Midwestern apprentice. Alright, I didn't really bury it much deeper than I wanted to, so I kind of regret this whole uprooting it, because I probably irritated it. I gotta get some more seeds down there. I need some chopsticks or something to push that in there. Nah, whatever. You might hear that. That might be some too much ASMR right there. Good enough. I think it's good enough for now. Let me get to some more comments here. But yeah, so I like getting back to the fertilizer. Let me just finish that before I move on. I actually really like Osmocote. It works really well with my seedlings. It doesn't burn them, and they grow a lot. It seems like they grew a lot faster. So I would try Osmocote. I know it's basic and sold everywhere, but honestly, nowadays I think everyone's trying to sell you something because of the plant craze that you really don't need. There's like a million little supplement brands out there, and they're all pretty much like white labeling the same stuff. So I don't know. I mean, there's been stuff that's been working for a very long time. So Osmocote seems to be tried and true, and I like it. So. All right, do you want Toro? My crystal and Meg snapped off because of heavy wind, so I had to repot. Well, the sucks about the info survive. Wow, that's crazy. Well, now that it's snapped off, you have two plants, so that's kind of cool. It's like forced propagation. Hopefully they both make it, and then that'll be happy. Or, I mean, I'd be glad. I can show you a plant from the Equigenera import, that one that was basically dead. I did end up, I think I saved it, so I'll show you later. What else? I see the growth technology product. Oh, is it that good? Jessamine, the growth that, okay, I guess I can give it a shot. I mean, those guys in Australia, maybe that is a secret, because I noticed all the Australian content creators, they have just insane plants. I feel like it's their climate, but I don't know. They're like, plants on poles are ridiculous. How tight did you pack the soil? Not extremely tight, but I tried to get it down in there, because, you know, if you watched my random, that Anthurium, like, plant chores late night video I did, the one to fall asleep to or whatever, where I was like quiet and talking like almost depressively. A lot of the seedlings I repotted, especially the small ones, did not do well. I think 2 or 3 of them just like lost all their leaves. It really shocked them, and I almost think it was a little too loose, if that makes any sense. Like, it almost couldn't get water. I don't know. My basement also got really cold. I have a heater on now, but at one point it was like under 50 degrees. So I think what I should have done is put all those like smaller seedlings in a bin that I could keep warmer, because they got really cold a bunch, and I think they really did not like the whole repotting, sitting in the cold thing. A bunch of them not looking good. They all shed like their old leaves, so I don't know what's going on with that, but I guess that's a learning experience. I'm going to try GT2. What are your results? Well, she said she's a total convert, so I'm sure they were pretty good. What's up, Ken? Thanks for the wave. But yeah, I don't think you should pack the soil super tight with a lot of these like anthuriums, or really any like epiphyte or any of these aeroids, because most of them grow in trees anyways, and you want oxygen to get in that pot. Especially with the plastic pot I put it in, there's only holes in the bottom. not like in the sides or anything, so it can't breathe that well. So I don't think I'm trying not to pack it super tight, but I could feel air pockets, so I want to get rid of those. I'm in the NZ and we've had that awesome summer here. Huge results living in a jungle. I'm jealous. I'm going to try putting some plants outside this year. I want to put a Monstera and a Pothos on a tree and just give it like the 4 months of warmth we have in Wisconsin and see what it does. Potting. Yeah, so that one's done. Before I pot some other stuff up, I got some new plants today I want to show you guys. And this one's kind of funny. And there's actually, I got a whole topic I can talk for hours about. Also, I feel bad. Anyone who's watching this after the fact, people are like annoyed, and they're not annoyed. I shouldn't say it. They don't have any negativity towards me. Everyone's very kind. But I'm not pre-announcing these streams. I think that bothers people because some people want to see them. But it's so hard with my schedule to like commit. I don't want to tell you guys like I'll be here on Saturday at 2 o'clock because with my life right now, with my like wife in school and my child and like whatever else I have to do, and just it's too chaotic to like promise a time. I don't want to promise you guys something and then like not deliver. That's like my fear. Let me grab some plants I got though. I got some cool new stuff. Although it's not tagged. So this is a plant that I just picked up today. Now this one is really funny actually. I got this off of some guy in my like local city Facebook group is like liquidating his whole collection. I'm actually seeing a lot of that lately. I think people are they took on too much or their life changes and they got to get rid of their plants. But when people liquidate, you can get them pretty cheap. But this is hilarious. So this one has spider mites, which is whatever. I already have spider mites, so I know how to deal with them. I was checking in the car. I was in the Chipotle parking lot and just kind of rubbing them off. Honestly, spider mites, you can literally just rub pretty good on the leaves and you can almost get rid of them all. I don't think they like plant like eggs inside the leaves. I think it's just on the surface. So if you really wipe it down, you should be good. But I'll spray this with neem oil too. But this is the funniest thing about this plant. Let me see if I can get this in focus. All right. I totally can. All right. All right, I think we're in focus here, pretty much. Something like, all right, it might be hard to see, but see all these big aerial roots going into the soil? That's the only thing holding this up. There is no central stalk. Here, look. This is where it was. See that? It totally rotted out. And I can feel it here. Let me rip it out. It's all, well, you can't really see it now, but it's like, you can see it's just floating in air. I wish I could get like something white. I don't know how easy you can see that. No, this is not that. I have to look up what this is. Let me just look at my like chat history. They were just cheap. This was $15. It was a philodendron I do not have, so might as well pick it up. Let me see what it was called. It was Stenoblaum. I believe it's a philodendron Stenoblaum. Maybe you guys know what that is. I don't know. I don't have a wish list anymore for plants because usually everything's like unattainable still. So whenever something interesting pops up, I usually try and grab it. I would look this up, but I don't know. Stenoblaum. I believe it's philodendron. I can't touch my keyboard from here. It's too far away. I probably mispronouncing it, but it gets big. The leaves will get pretty big. It's little now, but this is what I want to show you. Now that I got some like white here, you might be able to see it on camera because it's kind of dark. That should help you see like the stem. Here. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit. A little dark, but can you see how there's like nothing under there? This thing is being held up by pure aerial roots, which is so funny to me. It's like just like, which I think is actually quite normal because I believe a lot of these, when they climb trees and stuff, I bet you a lot of the old growth kind of rots off and dies off, and the aerial roots keep it going like as it climbs stuff. So I don't know. I just thought that was pretty funny to see that nothing was holding it up, but that. Let me turn this down a little bit. Okay. Well, now you can't really see anything. But yeah, I'm not going to probably repot. Maybe I'll repot this. This could be repotted. But because we got more aerial roots here trying to come down. But yeah, all the other leaves look bad because they had spider mites, but this fresh one looks pretty good. I like it. I think it gets a lot bigger and it'll look pretty interesting. So let me just nab focus here. Okay. All right. How's this pot? Sorry about the squeaky chair. Like every chair I own is pretty squeaky. You know what? I almost wonder if I can keep this in the same pot, just jam it down in there more, because I'm kind of curious what this looks like. Let's do some investigation. This guy's got some decent mix. So he's got some pretty chunky perlite. So this is not my mix, obviously. This is somebody else's. But it's really wet in here. And some, what do you call this stuff? Cocoa core or whatever? Let's just see what's in here. Yeah, see, it's very shallow. The roots barely went to the bottom. We can definitely pot this up a little deeper. And maybe give these other roots a little bit of a chance. But here, I can make this even more apparent now. This is so funny. I'm sorry that I'm like finding this so funny. You guys are probably bored by this. But just, I've never seen a plant where the actual base is rotted away. That's so funny. All right, let me get back to these comments here. Potting, yep. Hello from Michigan, love your videos, man. How do you go about getting a giant pothos node? So I got my giant pothos node from a friend who lives in Florida. I think I linked them. Obviously, he's not gonna like respond and give them to you because he doesn't live there anymore. But one of the big storms like blew it out of a tree, so that's how he was able to get a hold of it. There are people who sell them. So some other guy sent me some recently. I might do a video about it, but they got a little cold, so I'm not gonna say it was the nodes, but they rotted out. I couldn't get them to like root or anything. But I also made the mistake of cutting them into smaller pieces. It was actually super mature, where like the internodal length was like not even an inch. Where the one that I got from the guy, the internodal length was probably like 6-7 inches. So there was some like space to like dry and rot out before it got to the main growth. But there's a lot of Etsy sellers because this whole giant pothos thing has become pretty popular. Like before I started growing it, other people already had it. Like it's not like I'm not like the first person to have it. So I'm sure if you read your Etsy reviews, you can probably find someone that has one. Is this any deeper? Not really. I'm like trying to repot these deeper, and I look at it and they're like not deeper. So now this one will be a little deeper, not significant. It's mirrored, sorry. Not significantly deeper, but a little bit. Earlier it was like more like this, like, you know. So we'll get her down in there, and then hopefully these roots that are sticking out, sub roots, will come out, and it'll stick in here a little better. But we'll see. This guy's got a really airy mix, so actually I'm not really worried about rot. Although this is a personal problem. I hate cocoa core because it gives me like slivers. Like tons of little slivers. I can't stand it. You almost need to work with gloves when you have this stuff. It looks like he's got like actual like, this guy's mix is chunky perlite, cocoa, I don't know if this is peat. I think it's peat. So it's quite similar to my mix, except for he's got a lot of cocoa core, which is another, so look at me, I'm already piling it higher than the pot. I do this every single time, so I can't water it. Dumb. I'll just kind of push it down a little bit, and we'll take a little out. So I was going to make a whole video about all the dumb mistakes I make, but that is probably number one, is putting the pots too full. And when I water, it just runs down the side. Drives me crazy. All right, back to the comments. Sorry. Short, hello from Germany. Love your videos. Thanks. Hello. I wonder how it is in Germany. Probably pretty cold, just like Wisconsin. Hello. What's up, Stefan? Finally made it to live. Hi from the UK. What's up, Kathy? Welcome. I wonder what time it is in the UK. I feel like it's got to be pretty early. Plant burnout seems common. Yeah, so I was going to talk about that. Honestly, I think I'm not even like hardcore about plants. I was really kind of like thinking about this in the car because when I bought this from the guy, like he liquidated most of his collection. He even had like an open house. He had a lot. He was like a prominent guy in our like city plant group. He was like the admin and everything. Really into plants, but I think either something with his kids, like you need to make some space for like kids, which is good. I mean, it's good you prioritize your family over your plants. But I mean, he liquidated almost everything. So, but his was like in greenhouses, so his was pretty easy to take care of in my opinion. But there's a lot of people with like house plants, like mine are basement plants. They can be dirty. I can get water everywhere. I can spray whatever I want. Not a big deal, you know. But this guy, or the people who have like their house filled with plants, you have to meticulously water everything. That I don't think I can do that. I can see why those people burn out. Because that's a lot of work. Here's another little guy. I got this one for $8. This is, I think, philodendron bipenfolia. I don't know what it is. Let me look it up. But I believe this is philodendron. It's kind of little, but again, for $8, why not? It's something I don't have, so I'll try it. Let me see what this one was called. Yeah, bipenifolium splash. So I think this one will become a little variegated as time goes on. But it's not looking so hot. You can tell it's like petering out. Let's zoom in. Like the growth tip is not doing so good, so whatever. We'll treat it for spider mites as well. It's got some odema, I believe, where it's been watered and the leaves are trying to get rid of it, but it doesn't feel super wet, so I don't, oh, it's wet in the core. This one's propagated. check this out. Let me get this a little closer. Okay. All right. We need to get a little brighter here. Okay. Think we're better? All right. So this one, he definitely propagated this one, which is pretty neat. I like digging in through people's like pots to see like the history of the plant. Let's get this one in focus here. So you can see this is the original node and this is the new growth, which is why it's kind of not pathetic, but it's still pretty skinny. It's still kind of getting its maturity. It should have been probably growing up something to get a little bigger, and I'll see what I can do to make it bigger, but hopefully naturally in my setup it just gets bigger. But we will repot this one. I kind of think a little bit deeper of a pot would be nice. Yeah, I can just plant this one a little deeper. Let's see the comments. I'm running behind. Yeah, hanging on by sheer will. Yep. I watch a lot. Plant burnout seems common. Epiphytic plants are so awesome. I agree. I love them. A lot of your propagation Monstera videos I watch. Yeah, honestly, Monstera videos are like the bee's knees on YouTube. If you're a YouTuber, if you make Monstera content, there's a lot of people who have Monstera and they love watching it, so it's a good one. But that's like one of my favorite like plants as well, so I can see why everyone looks it up. And it's fun to propagate. In my opinion, they're pretty hardy, so they propagate well. I believe Steno. Okay, so like, I guess it got reclassified. I think I've heard about that too. I just never remember that. So, just another long word I can't pronounce. Thaumatophyllum. Yeah, I'm doomed. Well, either way, it's a cool plant. I'm not like a really serious collector as far as like what I name the stuff, if that makes sense. So that doesn't bother me. I know some people. I still see people like asking for plants and they're like, I need one that's like not tissue culture, but as if it has like a more significant, no, we just broke this off, whatever. I don't know, the tissue culture thing cracks me up. I get some tissue culture can be kind of janky and like introduce like a weird mutation or like a slightly sickly plant, but usually it's not the case. Plus, if you propagate, you're literally doing tissue culture. I mean, that's what propagate, like once you cut a plant, you just like culture the tissue. It's just tissue culture. They can do a lot more smaller and they can do it rapidly and really fast. Fart? Maybe you're hearing this. That's just a chair, man. That's not me. UK time is 21:45. It's getting pretty late for you. I don't know why Jake's sexing is saying fart, but it cracks me up. Hello from Brandon, Oregon. What's up? Favorite plants currently? My favorite plants? I just had a list because I was actually going to talk about it. Honestly, one of my favorite plants right now is the Philodendron Splendid. That is so beautiful. I might try and drag it over here. The color, and when I see it in this, I'm considering potted up. I potted it a little deeper. I'm going to reuse the guy's pot. I should probably get it on a stick. Honestly, I think this one would benefit from being in like higher humidity. I've noticed these like philodendrons, or in this case the Thaumatophyllum or whatever, if they don't get like the humidity they need, they get like kind of stringy like this. I actually had a Philodendron tenu, I believe is how you pronounce it. Did the same thing, just never really did well, so maybe this one won't, but that's all right. We'll figure it out. How am I going to show you this next plant? I'll get the Splendid in a second. Let's just, let's go to the next plant I got from this guy. For that, we'll just do this. Okay. You can see more of my mess. I think the focus needs to be there. I got this one for 20 bucks, I believe. Oh my God. I forgot what this one's called. It's not labeled either. Dang it. But it's a beauty. This one's much bigger. And this is neat. It's got these really cool red on the back side. I'm going to treat all these for like spider mites and stuff because I can see what looks like spider mite bites. There, now you can probably see better. Look at that beautiful red. They all get that. I'm assuming it can really get red if you make it super happy. But I'm going to cut this one up and then pot it up. I might do that on stream. We'll see. Because at this point, it's like a little too leggy. Somehow the pot is holding in, or the stick. But it's pretty big. So that's cool. So maybe I'll pot this one up too. I might just cut it. Because I don't know where I'm going to put this tall, lengthy thing. And it's already outgrew the thing. I hope you guys can hear me because I'm not like really talking into the mic. So the audio might be poor. And for that I am sorry, but alright, that works right there. Okay. Okay. But yeah, I want to show you guys my favorite plant, but oh, okay, we're good. Let's see what else. I like to wrap sphagnum moss around base of plant after planting. You can, yeah, I've seen people do that. I think it's a pretty good idea because it helps you get those like aerial roots going. It gets them to the soil. The problem is sphagnum moss is like $60 for like a little bale of it now. It's like ridiculous. Let me get this Splendid. You guys got to see the Splendid. In fact, I'm going to change the focus right away because I'm not going to set it on this table. What's in focus here? Okay. Be right back. Let's see if I can. I'll take this one in too while I'm at it. Okay. How can I get this out without wrecking it? All right. You should be able to hear me now. So look at this absolute beauty. Look at this thing. This is amazing. I love this plant. When the grow lights hit the front, you see how the back is kind of more red? It really comes through more orange-like. When the grow lights hit it, it's fantastic. Look at that mealybug. Look at this guy. See him? This little punk? He's dead. But it's getting bigger and bigger. You might not be able to tell, but the nodes are like getting increasingly in size, which is nuts because it's not actually climbing. It's more like crawling, so I don't know what this thing actually prefers, but it is such a beautiful plant. Let me see if I can get you some like actual in focus close up here. Something like that. Like, I mean, look at the veining. This is the back of the leaf. The front is just as beautiful, and it's big. I mean, it's like the size of my forearm, right? The stem also is like little like red bumpy. You can't see it well, but by far one of my favorite plants. And this was actually from someone on Instagram. So I met them and we did a trade. I forgot what I traded them, but I love it. I mean, look at this. Isn't it beautiful? I really want to get this on a pole and get it like huge. But yeah, this is by far my #1 favorite plant right now. Okay. I don't think I got other, I mean, I have so many favorite plants, so it's really hard for me to really pick them all. I really like all my plants. I have such a blast like seeing them. Let me get back to the comments here because I'm probably falling way behind. Yeah, maybe not too fast here. A lot of people saying, hi, what's up guys? Welcome to the stream. Glad to see you guys. TC is the way in my opinion. Yeah, so I totally agree. Like, if people want to have access to plants, I think TC's great. I mean, obviously there's mistakes. Like, I still think that one tetrasperma is like a mistake from TC, but I know some of the people in the group disagree with me in some of these Facebook groups. But I don't know, the way it acts, it's not, I've had it for over a year and it never matured, you know, and so I don't know. But maybe. But TC is the best way to get cheap plants. I think a lot of the Thai constellations now made it into TC. In fact, I have one. I'll show you later. I'm pretty sure it's a tissue culture, but who cares? It's cheaper now because of that, so it still looks pretty. I mean, if you have like a big world-renowned like conservatory where you want to have just pure species plants, fine. But those people have a bigger budget than we do, you know. So you had a purple. Have you ever had a purple passion? Yeah, I actually have. I did a propagation video about them a long time ago. Oh, I see. Saying fart to somebody else. The only problem I have with purple passion plants, you could say that 3 times fast. I think I even made that joke in my video, but the flowers stink. I don't like the flowers, honestly. They don't smell good. That's my big problem with them. All right, we're gonna cut this. I think maybe here. How's this spot look? Because there's quite a bit of root growth in here, and I'm probably going to lose this leaf anyways from planting it so deep. But I think this is probably the best spot to like cut it. Usually I use those razors. Maybe I'll use those razors. Hold on. I think I got one over here. I always have one handy. Maybe I'll cut myself on stream because everyone always complains about these things, but honestly they make the cleanest cut. You just carefully ride it in there. And if you do it nice and slow, just like that, easy peasy, no cuts. I mean, always be careful with those razors because they are quite dangerous, but they make the cleanest cuts. I have made videos about cuts with those things. I should get the prop in. I cut them on Stera years ago with it. It like the cut is perfect. It's like almost calcified or like like fossilized. But I mean, you can't really see well here because it's juicy. But we'll zoom in. Enhance. This is why I like having this camera. Not only is it 2K footage for you guys for the stream, but I have more control than like the webcams. You can't quite tell, but it's a super clean cut. So I love it. It almost never rots out when it's super clean. When you get like a crunchy cut where you really damage the cells, like where it's like all like mushed up from like a scissors, because this thick stuff does not cut well with a scissors or a knife in my opinion. You end up crushing it. That crushed stuff is like dead, and that's what starts rotting right away. So it almost seeds the rotting. That's why I don't. People hate that I use a razor, and I agree it's dangerous. There are better ways, but it's so cheap. I shave with these. You can get a pack of 100 for like 10 bucks. Can't beat that. I'm all about cheap. All right, let's get back to chat. I'm probably like way off topic here, but yeah, purple passion. The flowers stink so bad. It's so funny. This is a pretty plant though. May I ask for career tips for baby tissue culture converted mint noise master? Converted mint noise. I have no idea. I've actually never bought anything like tissue culture like in the flask. Like I don't know how to like deflask them well. I'm sure they have to sit in a propagation bin forever. Honestly, I should try buying. It'd be interesting to buy a tissue culture flask for a video and try and pull it apart. I do want to try tissue culture. I think it's freaking awesome, especially for orchid seeds, because that's how you produce almost all of them. Because you need, I could talk about orchids for a while. I did a lot of research on it, but most orchids, they use a special like fungus to get like I believe sugars. There's like a little, orchids and ferns are very similar, I think. There's a phase before they become a plant where they're like this little like green ball, and the green ball isn't capable of like making everything it needs. And so it actually has like this symbiotic relationship with this fungus in the soil, and the fungus will produce like either the sugars or something that the plant needs to continue growing, and from there it does well. So with tissue culture, the agar, that like gel, if you've ever seen those like flasks, that gel has everything they need, and that's why they do well in there. What is my electricity bill? My electricity bill is very expensive. I think I paid over $300 something this last month. A good 50 or 60 of it is just for this plant room, especially if I run the heater. I mean, I'm lucky in Wisconsin. Our electricity is only 13 cents per kilowatt hour. If you're in California, good luck. You have to pay like 30 cents. That's nuts. I think even 36 cents. That's crazy. So yeah, it's expensive, but luckily I'm running a YouTube channel, so like it's like a tax write-off and everything in it. It's okay. But yeah, it's tough. It's expensive if you have a big collection like this. We can hear you. That's good to know. Let me know if I get too loud too. I can always turn it down pretty quick. I have phylos which I have planted in the cocoa peat and compost. So, Harryali online, does it work pretty good for you? I think that's probably a pretty good mix. I hate when the chat jumps. It jumps and I lost it. What up, Deadpool? I got mine on Etsy, Carol. Kathy, are you referring to the giant pothos node being Etsy? I think that's a good place to get them. Just started a prop box for the first time. Thank you for the inspiration. Yeah, you're going to love it. The one thing you should look up, Connor Smith, with the prop box, you need to look into vapor pressure deficit. If your prop box is too cold and too humid, over time your plants will stop like uptaking like water and like nutrients from whatever medium you're trying to grow them in. So if you leave them in there for like a year, they're going to start to like peter out. So definitely don't be lazy. I've had a prop box going for like 2 years now. Plants aren't doing much, but they're just chilling. So just be aware of that. But prop boxes are like king for propagation. They work so well. Yeah, okay, so Thai Constellation literally came from TC. Yeah, see, exactly. Like, obviously there was like one nice mutation, and they TC'd the heck out of it, you know what I mean? So people who have like this stigma against tissue culture, it's just odd to me. Unless you're like literally doing like a botanical collection or something, like I don't think it's a big deal. We are going to reuse this pot, I think. So let's get back to work, okay. I'll show you my Thai Constellation. I actually got it, I bought it off of Bill Rodolante. When I did that nursery tour, since he was nice enough to let me go down there, I felt weird if I just like did a tour and left. I mean, yeah, the YouTube video might help advertise, but my tour videos always do so poorly. I think I'm too weird when I do it, but my tour videos are always like maybe 5K views, you know, or like that Summer Rain YouTuber. She'll do a tour and just kill it. I mean, she does so good, but she's also really charismatic, and she's really good at talking to people. I'm not very good. When I'm in that, like, doing a tour, I'm so cringy. I always feel like I can't speak well. Wow, this thing is, like, glued in here. All right, we can, yeah, we'll just, something interesting is I bet you if I cut this at the base, we can repot it. We'll just get rid of it. Just pull, yank and pull as hard as you can. It'll come out eventually. Wow, look at the root structure on this bad boy. Sorry, I'm trying not to like fling it because it'll go all over the computer. It's got some strength. Look at that. All right. Any more comments? Tie constellation literally came from, yep. I have a TC tie as well. I don't get being a purist against TC. It's another problem with the plant community. People, it's like someone just always has to have something better than you. That's like all it is. It's like they're so insecure about themselves. Can't you collect moss? What do you mean by collect moss? Like sphagnum? Well, you can collect moss, but sphagnum, well actually, there are sphagnum bogs in my state, but it's illegal to like collect that stuff. If I was like tearing these bogs up, I think they're protected like where I live, so it would not be a good idea. But sphagnum moss is like the specific kind for like propagation. It's really expensive now. It sucks. You know better than to use anything but razors. Yeah, I know. I love them. They work so well, but they are dangerous. Sphagnum moss is different. Comes from bogs. Yep. Okay. My tie is a TC baby. Yeah, I think most people have tie TC babies, and they all look great. So why is it? They're cheaper now. I remember all the hoity-toity people with like the $400 or $500 tie constellations. Like they hated the idea that they would be TC'd because then their plant loses value and somehow it's not nice anymore. I don't know. You made me switch to using only razor blades. Yeah, well, listen, Deadpool, just be very careful with those razor blades. I think as long as you're careful, it's a really good way to cut plants. I like the smell of philodendron sap. Yeah, me too. It actually smells pretty good. It's really weird, but it smells good. Stefan is asking, what is TC? Someone probably already answered it. Yep, tissue culture. If you look into it, you'll... no, they're not genetically modified, so... did someone else answer it? No. So basically, it's just a way to propagate really quick and multiply really fast. It's hard to explain it all. I don't know the exact sciences behind it, but they're able to divide plants really quickly, and they always grow because they're like inside of a glass container with all the nutrients they need. So they grow really quick. They chop them up again. It's like you can basically, when someone patents a plant or creates a new hybrid that they want to patent, usually they almost always go to tissue culture. Like everything you see in like Costa Farms and stuff, any of those like patented plants, someone bred for a really nice plant, they grow it out a little bit, then they start tissue culturing it. It takes a few years, but then you can get like a massive amount of plants and then sell them. So it's how almost all houseplants get into our hands. Very few are seed grown, especially the tropical stuff. So I'm reading. Sorry, I'm like silently reading. Thanks for a tip. Completely seed. Yeah. So the seed warming. Before I get to the next one, Connor, I just saw your thing. Honestly, I think it might help a little bit. If your house is chilly, a little warmth is a good thing. I know my boxes sit on top of the shelf with lights right underneath, and it's a wire mesh, so like the heat from the lights goes right to the prop boxes and keeps them nice and toasty. I mean, they're probably only like 80 degrees, 70, 75, but still warm enough. You know, it's nice. So the seed mat might help, but don't let it get too hot. Maybe it'll help your vapor pressure deficit. I don't know. Once you start getting really warm, that's out of my realm of knowledge. I don't know what happens. I've never tried it, so just keep an eye on them. It might dry out quicker. All right, so Thought It Up says, hey, I don't think it's a personality difference at all. You do fine on tours. Don't sell yourself short. I think it's just different audiences. Yeah, I think that's true. Like, everyone in this chat, or at least I can see it from, like, the statistics on the channel, because I have, like, this whole statistics, like, dashboard. I can see what the viewers are or whatever. A lot of viewers have come from certain videos of mine, and, like, especially that lemon video. I mean, that's, like, probably the biggest performing video on my channel. A lot of people who like growing like lemons or like little trees in their house aren't really into like rare plants. So a huge subscriber base from the lemon video just aren't really into like majority of my channel. So it's whatever. It helped me get the plaque, so I'm not going to complain. But yeah, like I think a lot of these other plant channels have really hyper focused audience, like especially summer rain orchid or summer rain oaks. Everyone who watches their channel came for the rare plant stuff. They stay for it. I have such a mixed bag of videos that, like, I even have some videos of like setting up microcontrollers, some of my earlier videos. So I got subscribers from all over. Is that peat-based compost? Hey, what's up, everything plants? Are you talking about all this? I think this is all peat. This is somebody else's plant, not mine. I just bought this, so but they're using a very similar mix that I use, just perlite peat moss. I'm like breathing it in, and I can't breathe. But yeah, it's the cheapest mix. I know someone pointed out in the comments the other day that like it's not a very sustainable thing, which is true. A lot of peat moss, they just like strip bogs completely. It's pretty bad. I gotta look into some other substrates so I can do it a little more ethically. You know, I really like bogs. There's a lot of orchids in bogs, a lot of carnivorous plants in bogs, like in peat moss bogs. So the fact that they're being destroyed is not good because there's some really magical plants there. But yeah, I gotta look into something else. I think honestly you can grow a lot with just perlite and vermiculite. I'm trying to experiment with that, but I haven't had a lot of time to really dedicate good experiments. But yeah, anytime you can like do something better, I would. You can see he's got a big ball of sphagnum moss here, in this pocket. This is like, this is gold practically. So I'm just like mutilating this. I'm trying to get the dirt back out to reuse because I'm not going to keep this root pile. I'm going to propagate this whole thing. So we could probably just, these roots are strong. This is interesting. I think he took a cutting from this. Remember, boys and girls, from Boy Scouts, always cut away from you. So this is just one big root mass. I'll probably actually throw this out. This is a little too big to throw back in the soil bucket. Luckily, if you could see how funny this setup is, this is just a piece of wood sitting on a garbage can. So it looks like I'm just throwing it to the floor, but there's a garbage can right here. It just went into the abyss. All right, so I'll probably chop this all up and propagate it. This is a pretty awesome plant. I'd have to look up the name. I think I already forgot. Did I tell you guys what this one was? Ugh, sap. Smells great. Hold on. Let's see what this one's called. I have screenshots of from the I think this is called a subhatatum. Philodendron subhatatum. Could be wrong. This is just what he posted, so I don't know. He didn't put philodendron, but it looks like a philodendron to me, so what do I know? But yeah, there's quite a bit of nodes on here. I can probably propagate the heck out of this one. They look pretty good. This one was a cutting of some kind that was rooted, and you can see the end here. This is like here. This is what I'll show you now. I'm excited. So look at this cutting. All right, this one didn't rot obviously, but it's like really like crappy. It's goopy, like not super clean. It's rough. Let me show you this one Monstera cutting. Let me get these out. I'll show you after we pop this up. I'm getting too distracted here. Because I want to get this in a pot before I just leave it sit like this. Alright. You can get live sphagnum from the conservative. Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool, Bryce. That is awesome. You know, I'm wondering if Bryce Hudson, are you the one that I talk to on Instagram a lot? I don't know what your YouTube handle is, so, but it seems like the same person. I don't know. Maybe not. I could be wrong. But I actually have live sphagnum moss, and I've considered this. I've been thinking about getting a kiddie pool, or like, you know, those like big plastic pools that like children play in, or people put their dogs in there. I've been thinking about in the summertime putting that out in my yard, filling it with water, and I have a lot of living sphagnum moss, and I was wondering if I could seed that and just get like, I'm talking like probably like 200 gallons worth of sphagnum moss, and like basically every summer grow a bunch, dry it out, and use it. I think it'd be really cool. But the problem is there'll probably be a lot of algae in there. All right, audio sound levels are fine. Man, good to know. Good to know. Is that PPA? Sorry, we already got there. Hey, Jeff. Yeah, Jeff made it. Yep. Everything Plants is here. He's an awesome YouTuber. I grow a lot of my alocasias in just perlite. Yeah, I mean, perlite works great. I would honestly mix some vermiculite in there. So the cool thing is perlite holds some moisture, but it's really holds more. It's like very airy. It doesn't soak up a ton, but vermiculite holds a lot of moisture, but it's still chunky. So I think the combination of the two is literally perfect because you basically have two particles in there. One is air, one is water. It's like, it's the perfect mix in my opinion. I'm still experimenting with it, but it's great. Yeah, so he just released a video about his alocasia. If you want to learn about alocasia, I can't grow them very well. Every time my basement gets down to like 55, they go into like flower mode because they think like the season's changing, and then they go dormant. Every single time. I really don't like growing alocasia because they're really difficult in my basement. Cocoa peat is more sustainable, yep, than peat moss. I mean, the problem is, honestly, there's like almost nothing sustainable. Even like perlite, vermiculite, it's all mined from the earth. There's big mines where they mine it out and then they heat it up. They use a ton of energy to heat it up so it like pops like popcorn. So I mean, everything's bad. honestly, the entire like plant collecting is not a very good sustainable thing. Think of all the plastic pots, all the things we use, all the chemicals. I don't know, all the diseases that get created from people raising plants and spreading diseases. It's crazy, but that's just life, I guess. What is it? Flora and fauna. My allocations get 60% leca, 40% perlite. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good mix too. I'm guessing we're gonna pot this up like so. I think these aerial roots, these will turn into real roots pretty quickly once they get nice and wet. And then I'll get a stick growing because I want to get this growing up something pretty good here because the growth tip is like right there, nice and close to the base, so that'll be nice. Although I'm kind of breaking some of these roots. We'll see how this works. In my opinion, philodendron are the easiest plant to grow. They're so hardy. They're so hardy. All right, what else we got here? Just tuning in now. Love watching these while taking care of my plants. Heck yeah. I'm always happy that other people can like just listen in and take care of their plants as well, because why not, right? I'm going to remix this back into mine. This is probably the biggest sin I've committed so far, and that is mixing someone else's potting soil into mine. That's dirty. But all he had is spider mites. That's all I can see. I don't see thrips or anything. I don't see thrip damage, so I'm not that concerned. I can smell the philodendron. It's such a strange smell. How do you even describe that smell? Alright, so this is a peat moss mix. We'll just dump it in. What's in focus? Is that even in focus here? I almost need to find a better way to like film this. It's some of these plants are a little too big, right? You can't really see it, but kind of hard. I don't know what to do about these plants. Should I reuse this guy's stake? It's honestly like, this is like a home defense weapon. It's you can kill a vampire with this one. I mean, this is heavy duty. I'm not going to use this. I don't like very heavy stuff. I like, even though pine is crappy and probably isn't the best, it's much lighter usually. This is like, I don't know, too heavy. It's just going to tip over in the future. And it's short. You don't get a lot of like leeway with it. I'll get this growing up something in the future. For now, it'll be fine. I'm still working on those 3D printed moss poles. I have like almost the final design. I completely redesigned everything again because every time I use like my own, I test my own out, I find like better ways to do it. But all right, not to the top, not to the top. We got to stop here. 2 inches, 1 inch. All right, this is good, beautiful. But one day I'll get those 3D printed moss poles out. Maybe put this razor some safe. Alright, I think that's it. We potted all these up. I'll cut these up in like a different video, unless you guys really want to see. I don't remember what else I was going to show you, but we'll just chop it up and maybe we'll throw it in some sort of container and propagate it. But yeah, what do you guys think about a kiddie pool full of living sphagnum moss? Don't you think, like, wouldn't that be a good idea to grow it all summer long? And then at the end of summer, you just set it out in the sun to dry? And then you have like a year's supply, if not more, of sphagnum moss. If you could fill a kiddie pool full, that would last you forever. And you could just keep doing it every year. I want to do that. Yeah, I should do it. I have a bunch. Like here, I'll show you. This over here. I mean, this is only one bin. I actually have probably like 4 or 5 bins. There's other stuff growing in here. I got some ficus villosa I'm trying to grow, but this is all living. All this stuff, the green, even this yellow stuff, it's completely alive. This, the algae's kind of, like, the algae's kind of claimed the spot here, so maybe I'll take it out because it's gross. But even this would live. I mean, if I put this in another bin, it'll live. And now it's in the soil bin. But yeah, like this would be a perfect seed. I could totally take this all out, seed it, and dry it out. I think it would just be a good idea. I'm going to try it this summer. If I get time, I'm putting the kiddie pool out. Probably breed like 1 million mosquitoes, but mosquito bits will take care of that. Alright, I wanted to show you guys this. This is what I was talking about. This is another reason why. What is this? What leaf did I smoke? Something got totally smoked. What did I rip? I must have closed the bin on something. This poor leaf somewhere is like damaged. Whatever. Alright, I wanted to show you this. This is where I was talking about the razor blades. This is why razor blades are like my favorite. This is a propagation bin I've had too long. You can see there's living sphagnum moss everywhere in here. I got this little guy. He's doing pretty. He's cool. Hold on. I think it's like Capria or something. Allocated Capria. Check this out. I got jade in here. There is a jade plant. Let me zoom in on this. You ever see jade in a prop box? Probably not. But it's been in here for over a year. You know, it's crazy. Oh wow, there's a lot of comments. All right, I'll hurry up and then I'll get back to the comments. But yeah, the jade plants are just growing in here. I'm just leaving them. But here, this is what I want to show you. This is a Monstera cutting that I've had in here way too long. This is from like, so this piece here, I wish you could see this better. It's really hard. All right, it is perfectly smooth. It's beautiful. It's kind of like almost woody at this point. This end was buried in the soil for like almost 2 years from an original propagation. This woody stuff has been sitting in this propagation bin, no rot. This was cut with a razor blade. I mean, it's perfectly clean. You can see like the detail in like the actual like plant structure. Like the razor blades are so, they do such a good job. But yeah, this Monstera plant is like going nuts in here. Here we go wide again. Grass. A lot of people ask about this grass. If you grow sphagnum moss long enough, even the dried stuff you get from the store, it always produces this grass. There's seed from where they collect it. I can't stand it. I hate it. It takes over everything. It sucks. But that's another story. But yeah, I mean, I got living moss in here. Here's some nice living moss. If I got the sun, I think it'd be a lot denser. But since it's not getting good sun, it's not the best. But enough of it would be a pretty good airy, like, medium. So I don't know. I think growing it in the summertime would be pretty smart. But yeah, the razor blade thing, I'm telling you guys, it's a little dangerous. Go slow, be careful, really get a good grip on it, maybe use gloves. But man, it makes just the cleanest cuts. I'll set that there for now. I know people have mentioned that you can use a scalpel, and that's like it's surgical scalpels are probably going to be just as good, right? Because they cut humans with it, and it needs to be really sharp and precise so it doesn't cause like bad cuts. So that's probably a good alternative, but I'm sure scalpels are more expensive. Never looked into it because I already have what I have, but yeah. Let's get back to these comments. It's been a little bit. Just thrips don't live in the soil though. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I know that pests can travel through soil, but every time I've never seen like spider mites crawling in the soil. I know they can fall off into the soil, same with mealybugs, but usually pests are found like on the plant, harming the plant. So usually I'm not too concerned about the pests in the soil. And how long can like say a thrip falls into the bucket of soil, how long can it live in there without eating? I don't know. I'm assuming it just dies. But just tuning in now, love watching these. Will I take care of, oh yeah, I already read that one. During COVID, I read it takes 9 months to grow sphagnum moss and temps must be kept. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I gotta just try it. But 9 months seems awfully long because my stuff just grows. Like once it starts growing, I mean, it just grows. I don't know if there's like a point in which like the moss like needs to hit. I think it just keeps growing and you just harvest it as you need it. I'm not sure. All right, where are we? Experiments with the tree fern fiber. It's too expensive. Last time I looked, you get a bag like this big for like $50. Like, that's just too much for me. All right, let's chop this baby up. This stuff is pretty old. Looks like there was one here, and he must have already taken the cutting. All right. This little nub. That's fine. We'll probably make this one's a little damaged here. Maybe he has a cat or something. I don't know. What about clay balls for cuttings? Like leca? I've used leca before too. Sometimes I feel like it can't stay wet enough. I think it's good for like a few inches, but after that, unless you keep a lot of water in there, which then you're almost like water propagating in my opinion, so it's like, what's the point? I don't know. I've used leca before, but I also find that it dries out too quickly in certain spots unless you dump a lot of water. And for me, I have a lot of success with just plain water anyways. So I will try some single node cuttings. Could probably do a nice video with this, but or like a how-to, but I've never grown this one before, so first we'll just grow it. We'll try some double node cuttings. So if you're new to the houseplants, we can talk about this because not everyone has done propagation before. Each little spot here, you can see this line, that is equivalent to like where this leaf came out here, right? So this is what we call a node, at least in the houseplant world. Sorry, it's mirrored, so I'm moving weird. And that is where your new growth is going to come from. So you don't want to cut here. You want to cut on both sides of it. So this, we already lost the leaf here, for those who don't know, and a leaf fell off here. But these two things are the nodes here. The roots are not a necessary indication of a node, so it's usually where the leaf was, and you can see a seam. You want to cut right between, like that. And that'll, a new growth will come out if you put it in a propagation bin. All right, back to comments. I love to see you grow sphagnum as an experiment. Yep, I read that. Sorry, I keep rereading the same stuff. Pool sounds great. Got to throw some carnivorous plants in the kiddie pool or you're just going to get mosquitoes. Yeah, I have a lot of carnivorous plants, so I'm sure I could do that. Or I could use like mosquito bits. I mean, I use that for fungus gnats, so I'm sure it'll work pretty good for like it wouldn't harm anything later on. I think it's pretty safe to like use that. Even if I use the sphagnum moss later, I don't have to fear anything. So when I use these razors, it's not zoomed in. Whoops. Sorry about that. You got to be really careful with these. You can't push from the back. They're sharp on both sides, and it's also pretty sharp in here. But I kind of pinch on the edges, right here and here, really firm. You got to keep it really firm. If it slips, it'll cut you. And then I just kind of rock it. I don't like slice. I just rock. Gently rock. Let the blade do the work. Don't force it too much. Just be slow and steady. Remember, the tortoise wins the race at the end, right? You're not speed racing through this cutting process. Just rock it back and forth. Rock it back and forth. Perfect. Safe and effective. All right. Next up, that would be cool. Have you ever regrown sphagnum? Yeah, all my prop boxes have all gone green. Like all the old dried sphagnum moss that I bought, it's all turned green. So yeah, it just grows over time. If you leave any sphagnum moss in a moist bin and it gets warm enough, it will grow. It always sprouts. I don't know how it lives, but it's amazing. Never mind, I just seen your prop box. Yeah, see, it's cool. Oh, I just realized I read what you're saying. Yep, sorry, a little slow. If anyone wants to, I wish you could see, there's a cord from the webcam that's being me. It's like right in line with the comment section. I'm like trying to look past it. It's at like eye level, but the cord's too short. So I'm like trying to look around it. If anyone wants live spag, they don't do it just during the winter though. Okay, cool. In my classroom, I have a huge tank with frogs for the kids to care for. I filled it with sphagnum, toxic plants, and moss. Totally can. Yep, exactly. It's really awesome. That's really cool that you have frogs for the kids to take care of. That's awesome. Are they like poison dart frogs, or just? I guess what kind of frogs are there? Maybe tree frogs? I really like frogs. I would have a lot more pets if I had the time. I go to Korea too often, and I can't depend on people to like take care of animals as well. Plants are already enough, but any animals I have would basically die every time I go to Korea because I usually go for like a month. So I don't want to. I want lizards, I want frogs, but I don't want to kill them. I tried surgical scalpels, but they are not easy to control, honestly. Yeah, I mean they're designed for cutting flesh, right? I mean they're not made to cut into like woody plants, and honestly, when you get like an older philodendron or even monstera, this stuff is like pretty firm. I mean, it's pretty like it's woody. I mean, it does not cut easy. So I can imagine a scalpel wanting to like, I don't know, I've never used one. X-Acto knife, I think an X-Acto knife would work well. Even like a utility knife, a lot of times they're a little short for me. I don't like them, and they still are a little thicker. And the thickness, like the reason I love. Like you can't even see this razor blade. Watch this. Like at a certain like angle, it's almost invisible, right? It's paper thin, so like it doesn't. Imagine like cutting with a thick wedge. Like you're kind of. It's like almost like splitting the plant apart instead of slicing through it. That's why I like these shaving razor blades, because they are like paper thin. They don't put any stress. They just slice right through. But I think a box cutter would work just fine. I've used X-Acto knives, box cutter knives. They work pretty good. Australia bell frogs. What is that? I'm going to copy. I can copy paste that, so I'm going to check it out. Can I hit enter? Oh, interesting. Those are weird. A bell frog looks a lot like almost like our leopard frogs here, but without the spots. Very similar. I love catching frogs. I used to catch them as a child all the time. Even nowadays, I'll still catch frogs if I get the opportunity. All right, now we got to think about what to do with these cuttings. I don't really have a prop bin ready. So maybe this wasn't wise to cut these up, but might set these aside for, I can do this on the side, but really I would take these and put them in a bin. You know what? Since my other video failed, I have a bin for these. We'll experiment some more. Let me grab my bin. Oh, I just lost my socks there. Maybe I don't have a bin. Here, this will be educational too. I think you guys will get a kick out of this. So these are this was the large pothos node cuttings that was sent by somebody. Sorry for the squeaky chair. So I cut these up. This was one long, let me get this in focus here. That looks pretty good. This was one long continuous piece, all three of these. And I cut it up like a fool. But I want to show you real quick what these look like. This is a giant pothos node some guy sent me. I think they got cold, which is really the problem. This kind of got a little, it was in midwinter, like January or December. But this is a node, this is a node, this is like 3 or 4 nodes here. 1, 2, 3. 3, I think 3. So I think it's so compact, and this was such an old piece that it really didn't start, and it's rotten. I mean, like, it's just pure rot. Here, you can see. Goop, goop, goop. It's all goopy. See that? That's not good, right? That's really bad. So this dead. I don't foresee this coming to life at all. I mean, I still feel firmness here, like it's still good there. So maybe I'll keep it. So I mean, you can see there's still some life in there, but not a lot. So maybe it'll come back to life. I don't know. I've been just kind of staring at these, regretting my decision, because I think if I did not cut them, the rot at least would have started on one end and there would be time to activate. So with these plants, a lot of times when you take a cutting, you have kind of a timer. As long as the growth point activates, the growth point will start turning green, and it can, like, in my opinion, like, fight off the rot. This is like some straight up bro science, pseudoscience, but from what I've seen, even the rotting ends don't affect like the living green part. Problem is it never had time to turn green. So this is completely rotted. It's gross. I mean, when you can squeeze it like that, that's not good. Into the trash can. Okay. So I was trying to propagate, I didn't want to set those like deep in something, but I was just trying with this perlite, and this is like giant perlite, which I'm not a fan of. This is that Mother Earth stuff. It's really abrasive in a really terrible way, and it just crumbles into like, it reminds me of that like weird fake popcorn. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but there's like this fake popcorn you can get, and it's just how it feels. Cut the live stream. Yeah, what's up, Freya Robbins? Yeah, Matt. Yep, that's my name. My name's Matthew, and Jeff's here as well. They're pretty large, so only have 2. Yeah, they look like cool frogs. I wonder if they have like nails. When I used to catch frogs, they always get me like in the wrist and scratch the heck out of me with their hind legs. It drove me nuts because it burned once that like slime gets in there. But anyways, yeah, for bones it's a surgical saw. So yeah, I use a sawzall on my big pothos node because it was so big. I use a paring knife. Same as these for veggies, potatoes, but I have. Yeah, even a paring knife is probably fine. The razor is not necessary. I just like it. It works nice for me. I find it cuts easy. Hey, look at that. It started to root. So I don't like this perlite very much in here. I'll never buy it again. I had my parents buy it for me for Christmas. That was my Christmas item I wanted because I didn't want to spend the money on it. But here's what I mean with like the rotting. So these were rotting, but once it started turning green, I think it's going to save itself. This one just activated in time. So I'll show you what I mean. Like I said, this could be pseudoscience. Hard to say. I don't know. But you can see this was all rotting out. But this growth point activated in time. You can barely see it. But now it's like the green is holding off the rotting. The rotting is stopped. It's hard here. There's a hard stop of green. And I think that's because the node activated. So this one's actually not rotting out too bad either, but they're all starting to activate. Well, we're going to put our philodendron cuttings in here. These are also pothos nodes, just not as giant. Very slow. This is philodendron burl marks. I just broke it off. It's just chilling, but where is something we can dump in here? What I want to add to this is more vermiculite, because I think burying it in there is better. I don't really like this perlite anymore. It's too big, too chunky. It doesn't keep the plants moist enough. It's like so airy that it's like massive air pockets. I bet it's good for orchids. I keep forgetting the focus. You guys gotta yell at me if I miss the focus here. Number 8 perlite. Honestly, I'm not sure what the number is. I just know it's like Mother Earth sells it. I mean, it's huge. But like I said, it's really easy to squish. So long term, I don't think it's gonna hold up. I don't like it. Look at that. Now it's just dust. It breaks worse than... It's just like they pushed perlite too far. They took something good and like, what if we made it bigger? But instead of using bigger pieces, it's just like they baked it. They like cooked it hotter and faster so it expanded bigger. Because perlite's like expanded stone. It's a special rock that has like moisture in it. And they heat it up and the moisture, almost like popcorn, I believe. I could be totally wrong, and if I am, correct me, but yeah. Yeah, I don't have nails either. I bite them off. Can you break it up into smaller pieces? Yeah, are we talking about the perlite? Yeah, you can break it up, but it's like, it's still not the same. It's like just mushy. I hate it. I'm just going to go back to the regular, like normal big perlite. It's cheaper anyways. This stuff's really expensive for what it is. I'm sure it works great for really like specific epiphytes, like the stuff that really only grows in trees. A lot of our stuff can kind of handle ground and trees, but certain orchids, I bet it works good with like the orchid bark and everything, but I don't like it. Yeah, yep, Jess, I finally did one like during the day, so. The forbidden cottage cheese, yeah, it's overpuffed, exactly. They overpuffed it, but that's like the selling point. I mean, people like this. Like I said, I think it's mostly for orchids. So anyways, I'm mixing this up a little bit to get more of that vermiculite mixed in there. Perlite can stay, but not a fan. Never gonna buy it again. So we're gonna put our philodendron cuttings in here. I don't know if these roots are gonna activate. Usually I actually don't like these really dried ones because I feel like it's just like a thing to rot. So I don't want to keep too many on there because they're pretty dried out and dead. So we'll just bury this in there a little bit. That should hold it good. Here's another. I don't think this is gonna... I don't know what to do with this guy here. Maybe it can hang out. Or we can like stuff it like so. It'll probably die off anyways, but I'll leave it photosynthesize the best it can for now. So we'll just bury this. Maybe this one needs to go on the edge. This one can go next to it. Good. And then we're just gonna bury these in here just randomly. Not too deep. But like I said, with this vermiculite and this perlite, it's so airy in here, it's unreal. So this is a pretty good experiment too, because I haven't really tried this with philodendron. I'm giving up on the large nodes. These are gross at this point. I'm done with them. These are not so bad. I think I can probably cut the rot off to make it smaller. Oh wow, we have one more over here. Okay, bury him here. And hopefully these roots. This guy was kind of rooting too, so we'll give it another chance here. Stack it. Oh. So you can kind of see how the rot has penetrated a little bit. I kind of like doing like side cuts because you can really see how far the rot has went. And you can see how the plant's like sort of fighting it. It's kind of cool. I'm going to cut it again. I'm not using that razor because this stuff is too thick for a razor. So when I use that razor blade, like don't do stuff super thick because you're going to have to push a lot harder. And it becomes a lot more dangerous. This like buck knife, or I think that's what this is called, it's pretty darn sharp. But again, it's very wide, wedge-like. So that's the one thing I don't like about it. But here we got most of the rot away. This might brown up a little bit, but I'm not worried about it. I'm just trying to make it smaller. Now I'll chop this off here. Yeah, see this one, the rot penetrated, but it doesn't, it's pretty goopy. But it's activated, so we'll give it some time. We'll see what happens. These all look pretty good. We'll set them in here. We're just piling stuff in here because I don't really have the room at the moment, but whatever. Get in there. Perfect. Alright. There was some other stuff I wanted to show you. I'm trying to think what it was. I don't really want to process anthurium seeds because I think it's kind of boring. Me just like poking seeds, unless you guys really want to see that. because I know some of you didn't see that yet. I hope this doesn't get like flagged with the advertisers. Alright, what else we got in questions here? I'm missing stuff. How'd you make that orange? Alright, let's see where we're at. The frogs, I meant. Oh, they definitely don't have nails, yeah. The frogs, yeah. The ones here have them. They drive me nuts. I have a big Mother Earth perlite bag upstairs right now that says size 4. Yeah, so Summer Robinson, what do you think about that stuff then? If you have it, what's your thoughts on it? I don't like it personally. I think it's too big for what I mix up. I can see it being good for like orchid mixes that really need to breathe, but other than that, I don't like it. I want to prop my philo, but at the same time I don't because it's so big and happy. I know that's the hard part. Luckily I just bought these plants so I don't have any attachment to them yet, so it's easy to just prop them up. I've run out of pots, so I need to make new ones with water bottles. My African violet pups need to be separated. Yeah, isn't it suck? The plants keep growing. 22:30 here, and I'm cooking food. Perfect timing for a tech plant stream. How'd you make tech plant orange? In the chat, are you guys seeing this? It's weird. It's cool. Oh wow, you're getting through stuff today. Yeah, actually, it's kind of nice. I'm getting some chores done. Like I said, my baby's with my parents, his grandparents, so I ain't gotta worry about it. I don't have to like think or listen for like cries for help or anything. I mean, my wife obviously watches them, so I don't have to. But sometimes they need help, you know. But yeah, he's gone. I'm gonna show you. I want to show you this crystallinum I have. I did a little like Instagram short, but you might not have seen it. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. You don't see the orange. That's so weird. Maybe it's like a flagged keyword. I don't know. It's not a big deal. It's just orange, but whatever. Actually, I got a few things I want to talk about that I think will be helpful. Let me set some stuff aside. I really need to figure out a better way to do this, guys. All right, so this is a crystallinum I have, okay? I got this as a tiny one-leaf cutting, all right? And I got this a couple of years ago, 2 years ago. And right away it got really funny and started like sort of like mutating. It looks like, it doesn't look that great right now, forgive me. Most anthuriums don't look that great in my care. I mean, some leaves are normal, right? I mean, but this is what I want to show you. Let me turn it to where you can see it. I don't know if you can tell easily in stream how many leaves are honestly on this plant. There is one new one, so one here. There's one starting down here. There's this new leaf. There's this new leaf. This new leaf. Let's zoom in, and I'm going to make this a little brighter because it's so dark for some reason. What is that? There we go, get that exposure bumped. So I already did these two, this two. There's one like here, maybe hard to see. There's another one right here next to it. There's this one back here. We already counted this one. But if you rotate it down here, we got one coming in here. And then there's another one that's just poking out here. I think we counted over 12 leaves. I mean, this is like, I don't even know how to describe like what this thing is doing, because all it does is like it's just continuously splitting. It never stops. Like I did a short about this, like I want to say like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, and it had 5 or 6 new leaves, and it's already like doubled. I'm like hoping and praying that this thing completely like, that it completely like takes over a whole pot where we're getting like 20 new leaves, you know, like 30 new leaves, like just craziness. I mean, it's absolutely insane how many new leaves are coming in. It just keeps dividing. The only bad thing is, if you can tell here, they're kind of ripped to pieces. Like they're getting like stuck on each other because there's so many like petioles going everywhere that they can't escape. They get like caught under each other. That's the one bad side. Like you can see, this one got ripped here. I don't know. Some are kind of mutated and weird. I don't know what that's about. Here, this one's funny. This one like got shredded coming out. That one did not stand a chance. But isn't this wild? This thing is so crazy. It's like one of my favorite plants as well because its growth is so weird. All right. Oh, here, I forgot about this. This is an interesting plant. I got a cutting from a friend. Let's go wide again. It's kind of a big boy. Let's get that exposure better. Yeah, okay. I don't know how if this is too bright for you, too dark for you. It's honestly hard for me to tell. I really like this plant's got some pretty cool leaves. Let me sit down again. I'm exhausted. I'm walking around. I need to have some water. I'm dying here. Let's read some comments. I don't see orange probably for you because it's your name, I guess. Or maybe it's so if someone calls me out, I can see it in chat. Some of these are normal, right? Every collector ever. Yeah, see, Summer Robinson confirmed my suspicion. You know, they're very, this person's like really into orchids, so they've been using it for orchids. I think it's excellent for orchids because the way they like to dry out and breathe, it would work perfect. So I'm going to keep the stuff because I like orchids. I'm going to get into them as time progresses. But yeah. Yeah, sphagnum moss has gone way downhill and the price is up. That's what I mean. I'm still living off of, I'm using it sparingly. I still have, every Christmas I ask for a bale of it. And so I have 2 left that I haven't even touched. But I like sphagnum moss, but I'm not paying $60. Like, that's insane. Especially with the amount of plants I have. That's why I don't use it. Cactus soil mix for my aeroids. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I want to do a whole video about the soil mix because it's actually really important for plants. And this cactus soil mix works really well because it's so well draining. And that's like most people's problems with plants is their soil is just not well draining enough. You can water every single day and not have problems as long as your soil drains really quickly and doesn't like hold a crap ton of moisture. Good timing because I'm late night plant mode right now. Heck yeah, Flash Ash. That's what I do. I was up till 5 a.m. last night. I've been helping my wife with this like project of hers, and it is a nightmare. I could go on for hours about it, but whatever. Let's keep going. Pot up some Fittonia. Fittonia, is that the one that's like so dramatic? As soon as you like don't water it, it droops, and you give it water and it like stands back up. I had one of those that killed it. It's really cool though. I love how dramatic it is. Transcendia Nanook. I actually think I have one somewhere in a propagation bin I got from this woman named Nini. She sent me some other cool stuff that Patsuanza, Pastazatum, whatever. I can't say that one. I never can. Leaves in an old Ferrero Rocher box. Hey, those things are nice. It's good that you're reusing plastic stuff like that. I keep everything. Like, I don't want to spill it, but we got Rayo's homemade marinara sauce from Costco. That's what I'm using for this guy. One of my chrysanthemum does the same thing too. Too many growth points. The cons, it never really gets bigger leaves, and the new leaves keep bumping one another. My suspicion mine is probably from CC. Hey, that could be possible. I have no idea where mine's from because I got it from somebody. It's a small cutting. But yeah, that's the one annoying thing. I don't mind the small leaves because my collection, anything that gets super big becomes like difficult. But the bumping into each other and ripping each other apart drives me nuts. I wonder if you could mossball it and hang it upside down to help with the petals from being tangled due to gravity. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I would need a heck of a mossball. I would love to print, because you can print like a... I don't really have any of them handy. But you can make like kind of like an organic like mesh, and it would be cool to have a giant ball structure that I can attach the moss to and have like a bowling ball or like a basketball size one. That'd be cool. I love the weird and freaky plants. Yeah, I do too. Hey, what's up, Dust Moss? If I was experienced enough, I would love to keep some helmet orchids. I gotta look those up. I love orchids. If you guys don't know this, and some of you do, but I didn't know this for a very long time. I thought most orchids was Phalaenopsis or Phalaenopsis. I can't see. All right, when I looked up helmet orchids, I just got pictures of helmets. A lot of helmets. All right, I think I gotta change how orchids is spelled. I think. Oh, those are really weird. What the heck are those? They look so alien. They're really cool. You guys should look them up. Helmet orchids. They're really cool. What was I saying? Yeah, I always thought the grocery store orchids was all that existed, but there is like a million different kinds. There's so many out there. It's so cool. If you can find an orchid nursery near you, I would definitely check it out. There's one in Chicago. It's amazing. Hauserman Orchids or something. I love going there. It's so cool. Orchids are like one of my favorites too because I love epiphytes, but I just can't keep them well enough right now. I need a good setup where I can keep them moist and dry, and I don't have the time. Until I automate something, I just can't do it. Yeah, Fittonia is the mosaic plant. They go through so much water. Yeah, they're cool. They're really pretty. I also like that in like terrariums because usually the pink ones are very bright. It's got a good side and a bad side. Yep, exactly. It's really cool because you get a lot of leaves, but they shred each other. They're fighting for the sun. They are funky little ones that are close to the ground and need terrarium set up. Yeah, they are really cool. I need to get my stream set up. This is going to take me a while. I'm so slow to get to where, and I should be doing something with this or just staring at it to get a good stream setup. But I want to be able to show you a browser so we can do stuff. Maybe I can rate people's plants, or you can submit things and we can talk about it. I think that could be fun. If you guys have any stream ideas, let me know and I can try and rig it up. But I need to get a dedicated scenes with OBS Studio. You can like set up scenes so I can just click back and forth. But it'd be too hard right now to do it. I'd probably like dox myself or something by opening the wrong tab. I don't know. I don't have it properly set up. Anyways, this plant here, since I finally caught up, this is a philodendron. Now, I'm not sure. Maybe it's like misnamed or there's a new name, but I posted about this on Instagram. I want to say it was, what was it? Copens? I think it's philodendron copens. It's really pretty though. It's got a really nice texture to it. And these like veins here are like really deep indents. It's really pretty. It's just a cutting right now, so I gotta kind of get it growing. And sadly, it was hanging, so that's why the lower growth is so small. You can see like how this is nice and thick, but this is getting smaller and smaller. So I'm definitely gonna get it growing up something, and then it'll do good. But right now, I just got it in water, hopefully to get it to root a little quicker. But it's really pretty. I really like these leaves. I want to say the ears are gonna get bigger, and something really kind of peculiar actually. They all have like the same like little indent. I don't know why. Only on one side. Little indent there, little indent here, little indent there. It's like it's got its own little character. Even this one has the little indent here. Hold on. So I don't know, weird. Not symmetrical, but hopefully I can get this one big. The petiole is also quite interesting. Almost reminds me of a monstera or something. It's very cool. I like it. I'm excited to try and grow it out. But yeah, that's another one of the new plants I got, so pretty exciting. I actually, hold on. I got another thing I want to show you guys that I'm pretty sure I figured out at this point. Not 100% sure, but someone asked me what my favorite plants are. This is one of my favorite plants as well. This is ensipholium. I've talked about this a lot. But I said I wasn't going to get a lot of plants. I thought I was like, I'm satisfied with my plants, and I still am. But like suddenly I've been collecting like a bunch, and only like in the first part of the year. But like I said, the guy was liquidating, so they were much cheaper than normal, so I had to buy them. Well, I didn't have to, but might as well add to the collection. But this is ensipholium here, and what I had asked on Instagram a while back. Can you see this weird pattern? Do you see this? Let me zoom in on it too. I was a little concerned about this actually. I thought I might have like a fungal issue. I thought I might have like a bacterial issue, because like even in the center here, it's turned a little brown. There's little brown specks. It's completely smooth. The leaf texture has not changed, and it just got light. What I think happened here was like edema. It's like when you overwater a plant, sometimes it tries to expel the water from the leaves, and it's like too fast that it like ruptures the actual cells. And I believe that's what happened here, because luckily there's a bunch of new growth on this plant, and so far I don't really see. Well, maybe I do see a little bit forming. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but you can kind of see maybe a little bit of that pattern's coming up. But I did just water it, so I'm not sure what's going on. It might be some bacterial thing. I might have to treat it. I'm not sure. That would be sad, because this one is really cool. It's really long. Hard to tell with the perspective because I'm using a wide angle lens, but maybe I got some problem with the leaves. I don't know. I'll have to give it some more time. Or I'm frying them in the grow lights. Maybe these aren't meant for bright lights. Because now that I look at it, I sort of see that pattern forming, but more in the tip. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I've got a bunch of these seedlings. Some don't have it, some do, so I don't know. Yeah, it's not variegation. This was ensipholium. This is one of my actually rare plants. Not very many people have this. It's not sought after, so it's not worth much because no one really wants it. But like maybe 25 people in the US have it. This is a truly rare plant. Yeah, I really love it. I love this style plant. It reminds me of just like a more extreme gracile, honestly. A little more pointed. But yeah, this whole like bacterial virus thing, I got to figure this out. I don't know what's going on. I mean, there's a new leaf here. I don't really see it yet on this one. But this is also like a side shoot. I don't know. I might kind of treat it with a fungal, maybe a fungicide, bactericide. We'll see. Yeah, but it's pretty cool plant. I was hoping to give you guys good news and say, yeah, I think it's just Odema or whatever, because the other crazy thing is this does not spread anymore on this leaf. I would expect to see these leaves completely die off eventually. But so far it's been a few months and it hasn't gotten worse. So usually the bacteria, the fungus, like slowly kill off the plant. So I don't know what's going on with it, honestly. Hopefully it's nothing like really bad, because I haven't seen it spread to my other collection. So I don't know, but it's a pretty cool plant. Let me catch up to the comments here. I'll put this back on screen so we got something pretty to look at. We gotta show its best angle. There we go. Beautiful. Wait, it's mirrored. All right, let's get back to the comments. I got a little behind here. If you like weird orchids, you should check out. What in the world is that? I'm not even gonna try and say it. You can see it in the comments. I will throw this in the tab, and I will look at it. Hey, those are pretty cool. Yeah, those are neat. It's like just roots. I can't see from here very well, but it looks interesting. All right, what else? What do we got? What do we got? I killed a jewel orchid last year because forgot about it hidden behind other plants. I've killed a lot of orchids too, and they're expensive. That's the only bad part. Q&A, like a Q&A night? Oh yeah, like, so this is about the stream thing, the towel. Yeah. I think it would just be fun to be more interactive with you guys. You could submit pictures, we can talk about it. You can even show your setup, we can talk about it. I don't know, it just could add in interesting things, or even, you know, if we're looking something up, you can see what I'm looking up. Right now with the browser, you can't see it, so you kind of just have to listen to me. It's better to see, in my opinion. I caught a video yesterday, one of Summer Rain Oaks vids from like a year ago. They had a clay pot with no drainage hole, full of water covered in moss. With it, I think it was some sort of pile. That's pretty cool. I got a few of those like clay pots. I want to try and grow that thing I grew in the past. I feel like the stream is like so behind right now. Like a minute behind. What can you do? It lets me catch up the comments. Alright. Helmet orchid is very hard to keep in my experience. I killed 4 of them without any research before then. I read they're actually kind of endangered and heavily poached. I think a lot of stuff is heavily poached. That's another reason why I think tissue culture is so cool, because you can get the plants to the people without having to poach the heck out of them. And once stuff is tissue cultured, the poachers, like, the plant loses value, and so the poachers, they're not incentivized to go poach. So I don't know. Because I mean, the funny thing is, like, we're creating the perfect market for poachers to like want to buy stuff, right? So sorry, I'm like thirsty here. What time is it? I do have to pick up my kid. Okay, we got a few more. We got a little bit more time. Genetic mutation, Animal 2000. Are you referring to this plant on screen now or the previous one? I don't know. I don't think this is a genetic mutation. I think that now I'm starting to think it's a problem because it's almost like it's spreading. I should really get one of those copper like fungicide things, but it might be too late. It might be internal already, and then I don't know what to do at this point. Quarantine it, kill it, maybe stick it in the sun, and hopefully some UV rays fix it. Some magic. I don't know. I've been trying to persuade my coworker to cut up his monstera. He always talks about how wild it is. Doesn't want to deal with it. Yeah, chop it up. Anytime things get too crazy for me, just chop the plant up. It's great. And you get more. Well, that's probably worse. Now you have more. But then you give them away. But at least when you chop them up, you make them smaller again. You can kind of start training them properly again. I have an insane monstera that's just like I've abused and neglected for too long. And I have to chop it up. I'll probably do a video about it. It was really nice and low maintenance. She did say it right environment would breed mosquitoes. Yeah, I think with most like open water, mosquito bits will keep that from happening, and it's not harmful for the plant. Mosquito bits are actually really cool because it uses a bacteria. It's like Basiliscus thungusteria, or I don't look up like mosquito bites BT or something, or BT bacteria, and you'll find it. It's a bacteria that kills the mosquito larva. It's so cool. It's not like a harsh chemical, so I think that's neat. Well, uh-oh, the chat just dumped. Yeah, not sought after yet. Yeah, I think no one knows about it, and it hasn't been like put on like Instagram. I don't think they get big. You know, I mean, most of the plants that we're calling rare are not rare at all. When there's 100,000 of them in circulation, it's not rare, but they're like trendy and people want them. It's more like they're just heavily sought after, and so that drives the price up. Do a plant spotlight on it? I probably should. I really want to see what happens with this whole disease thing. I'm really nervous now that I'm starting to see the pattern show through. I hate that. I might put it in low light and see what happens. On topic of fungicide, etc., got a sneaky trick to get rid of spider mites. Actually, that one plant, this has spider mites. The one I just got from the guy. Honestly, just neem oil. If you neem oil and wipe them off, it's pretty easy. I want to see if I can see any on here anymore. I wiped most of them away. There's a little residue. We can switch to the macro lens and maybe end on that. I think there's still some on here. Yeah, there's still some on here. I'll see if we can show them to you. Yeah, they're on here. I just wipe them. If you get a rag with neem oil, you can just wipe them away. I don't think they lay eggs in the plant. It's more on the plant. So usually you can wipe that kind of stuff away. That's like the nice thing here. We'll put him on camera. So this one has spider mites for sure. I'll show it to you. I'll put the macro lens on in a second here because we're gonna have to end the stream pretty soon, I think, because I gotta pick up my child. Check the abixial. What is that? What part of the plant is abixial? We gotta find out. The lower surface of the leaf. Is the abixial the underside? Is that what you're saying? I don't know I've never heard of that term. I'm a rookie apparently. It's got great leaf structure. Yep. Back of the leaves. Okay, yeah, you answered my question. Mealybugs suck. Honestly, I hate mealybugs. What is this? Because they can get in nooks and crannies, but spider mites are almost like you won't find spider mites on the stems. Like spider mites do not eat the stems; they eat the leaves. So like they're really easy to get rid of, in my opinion. Just neem oil them, wipe them down good. You can get rid of them. You know. Let's see what do we got here. So, but mealybugs, I see them on the stems. I see them like right where the leaves connect in those little cracks. Like they're so hard to get rid of. I hate mealybugs. But spider mites are like the least. Oliver Ohm, try beneficial bugs. Thanks for the $4.99, but you just shouldn't have. I'll feed my kids some good food with that or something. You guys don't need to donate to the stream. I just like doing this. Plus, I didn't have time to edit a video today, so this is a video I can post. I have to feed the YouTube algorithm, so this is good for that. But I appreciate the donation, so thank you very much. I really appreciate it, but you don't have to do that. The beneficial bugs, I'll try them again. I've tried them in the past. They didn't really work for me, and there's that YouTuber Kill That Plant. He made a video recently about getting rid of thrips and kind of the struggles he's had with beneficial bugs, and I kind of had a similar struggle. But once spring comes around, I can ship them easier. I'll give them a shot because I would love to like live pest free. It would be nice, but you can't always. So, it's just hard to manage such a big collection of plants. Terra planter you did a while back. Okay, yeah, we can talk about the Terra planter now. Let me just make sure I get all these things. What's the best way? So mealybugs, again, neem oil doesn't really help because they're pretty hydrophobic, so you really have to soak them. Mealybugs really is manual removal, squishing them, wiping them off. A lot of this, I think thrips are like one of the only ones that really lay eggs inside the leaves, if I remember. That's why it gets that really peculiar damage, like that, like almost paleness, because I think they're really in there doing things. They're hard to get rid of, but mealybugs and spider mites, manual removal really works well. It's just a little more painstaking and like a little tough, you know. This one on the screen, it's beautiful, perfect looking. Thanks. I think these are pretty nice plants too. I mean, the leaves are a little yellow on this one, but did you try Steve? Well, we'll go over the Terra planter real quick. So the Terra planter, I think, really fizzled out. I think all the people that got it were a little salty about it. Basically, if you don't keep that thing in like a high humidity bin, it will never work well. Like, it doesn't create enough humidity for the mosses and stuff to live on the outside. Yes, it stays nice and wet, but it doesn't work well. I tried growing a lot of stuff on the outside, and I really struggled. I had like the cheap version, but I never like. Have you ever seen anyone post about Terra planters since like the release? If you have, I would love to see it. But I have not seen a single person like post a successful thing with it. I've only seen that like, was it DOOA company? They had like a clay flu-like one, and the only successful ones I've seen, they keep it in a glass box and it works. So the Terra planter I think was more of a meme. It's really cool, but I would love to see someone who had success with it. I just don't think you can, unless you keep it in a terrarium where it's like, well, what's the point? Yeah, dipping a tip in the alcohol, that'll work well too because you'll probably kill any eggs left behind. I've tried a lot of systemic pesticides. They never really work that well either. I've heard the cinnamon trick is mostly a myth, but I haven't looked into it too deeply. Yeah, I've kind of heard about that too, but I don't know. I've never tried it. Mealybugs suck. You really just have to be really meticulous and manually remove them and look in every little crack. I hate them. I need to remove the money. I mean, I'll take the money. I'm not going to say no to it, but I got to pretend I'm humble at least. But I appreciate the donation. It's really cool. It helps support the channel. I mean, I do spend some money on stuff to get things going here and the time it takes to make a lot of this stuff. So I do appreciate the donation. Sorry, I just got to that message. But I got to be somewhat humble, right? I can't not be thankful, right? I'm guessing you guys are all linking different bug names in here that I should try. I'll add them to the tab to look at later, because these all look like the names of the different mites. That's another thing. There's so many mites that do different things. You really gotta like do your research on them. Some need very specific situations. As long as the plant is growing, I don't worry as much as we don't think they're getting everything these plants need when they need it. Sometimes they just adjust. That's what I think anyway. It's beneficial mite against spider mites. Talking about encephalam. Yeah, I mean, it's growing just fine. It's just, I don't want that to spread to my other plants, if that makes sense. I don't want to see it keep spreading. It's kind of unsightly, you know. But it's still putting out new leaves, no problem. That's the weird thing. So I've never seen mealybugs in my grow room. So weird. Only thrips? That sucks. I heard thrips are the worst, but who knows. I had thrips on one plant once, and I got rid of them really quickly with neem oil and manual removal. Never seen them since. So, but mealybugs, I can never get rid of them. They always are here. Rhyme not intended. Any tips for dealing with thrips? Thrips, I've just used like a rag and some neem oil mixed with water, and I just really wipe the leaves down, and I check them like every day for new hatchlings, and just wipe them away, because you have time between them like hatching before they hit adulthood to lay more eggs. So as long as you're removing them as they're hatching, they can't lay more eggs. So that's the key. But most people don't have the time to check every single day. It's tough, and you got to do that for a long time, because I forget their life cycle. But like if you miss a few days and one like is born and lays more eggs, like you start the process all over again. So it's hard. What is the best way to clean your plants? You know, I don't really clean them much. You can tell some of them have like water residue, so I'm not really sure. I have pretty hard water, so even when I've sprayed my plants down with water nicely, and then like the water droplets dry and it's just got the minerals on there, so I don't really clean them well. I just spray the heck out of them. I got that pump sprayer. That works really well. You pump it up and just spray the heck out of them. They clean pretty well. I'm going to try and show you some spider mites, because it's really subtle on this plant. Let me get the macro lens, the light plugged in. This will take a hot minute here. I got to move a lot of stuff around. And now I got plants everywhere, so I don't want to kill them. Alright, put this in here. Gotta end the show with mealybugs, right? Or spider mites. Okay. Now, in order to do this properly, I think I gotta bring this down more like so. Next, we need extension tubes. Because extension tubes are what we use. I'm sure you guys can barely hear me because I'm far away from the mic. But extension tubes are like the best way to get some really good quick macro action. So we are going to change lenses live here. And then I think I'm probably going to end this stream because I got to pick up my kid and have dinner with the fam. But let's get this put on here. Walk into the light. Alright. So that's on. Okay. Good. Now, let's see if we can see some mealybug action. The hard part is holding it steady enough. Alright. Let me extend this all the way. Now, they're going to be super subtle here. But you see right on the vein here, that dust? That's, guys, it's hard. There's really tiny mites here. They're all young ones too, so they're really little. But if you see like little white dust, usually mealybugs. I'm trying to find one, or spider mites. I'm trying to find like a living, breathing, walking spider mite. A lot of these are like they're like old exoskeletons. Let me see what we got here. Where are you? Like that little dust is like I think it's like they're old molts. So mealybugs like have different stage, or I keep calling them mealybugs. Spider mites have different stages, and they molt. Here. I think this is one. I cannot hold this steady to save my life. Oh, here we go. We got some active webbing. See if we can get this on camera. What am I seeing? Oh. Or is it? All right, there. Can you see them in there? Those little dots? It's so hard. They're so little. Let me see. I'm going to look for one more section of spider mites, and if I can't find them, I'll put the other lens on. I want to find one moving. Oh, here's another good example. So, this will be a little easier to catch on camera, I think, because it's bigger. See all that? Let's see if I can steady myself. That's all like, you can't see the webs on camera. This is a reminder to go check your plants. But they're there. Usually the dust is like hovering too. That's another good, like, that's like usually how you know you got spider mites, because the dust is like caught in their webs. So they make like little webs. But they're in there eating away. But they're not. I wish there was a better way. There's no other way to really zoom in on them either. I think he actually killed most of them because it's like they're not moving. They're just like their old exoskeletons. But either way, that's mealybugs. They're annoying. I'm blind now from that light. Alright, let me turn this off. Oops, this is not what we want. I just accidentally put the main lens on the extension tubes. A lot of people want to know how I get the macro footage. So this is like the macro lens. This is the extension tubes. These change like how close you can like focus. So it has to be like right next to the lens to see it, which is why I struggle so much with like getting it. And like when you're really zoomed in macro wise, any shake is like exaggerated. But this is like what I use, and you can take off to get different levels. But that's how I get most of the macro shots. All right. Let's read a few more comments, and then we are going to call it a day. All right, where are we? Me too. 1,500 release it. Wow. Okay. 1,500 ladybugs for $23. Should I try ladybugs? I mean, does that actually work? No, get the plants in there. I don't know. I've never tried ladybugs, but I have a big room obviously back here, so I could totally like put them in. That would be pretty neat. This would be trying to think if I have any last minute things to show you guys before we call it a day. But I don't think so. I can show you guys the giant pothos if you want to see it. We can end with that too as well. This is getting pretty big. But let me read some comments before we do that quick. Let's see what we got here. Ladybugs, did they work? I kind of would like to try it because they can go to the car. I use tap water or I use well water, so I use kind of both. The well water is really hard. My tap water is really soft because it goes through a softener. I use both sometimes. I did every month, never chemical again. Yeah, I got to get to that point where I get the pests or the beneficial insects going. I'm going to buy some. Spring, I'm going to get some. All right, where are we? Put the eggs and pupa. I left this chat after you finished potting up your anthurium seedlings. Yeah, another thing, you know all those anthurium seedlings I potted up in that other thing, they're not doing good. The really little ones, they were totally shocked. They lost leaves and they are like 2 or 3 of them died. The bigger ones are doing okay, but they definitely lost leaves. I really, the grow room was too cold that night, I think, and like between being repotted, being cold, totally killed a bunch. Kind of sucks. Yeah, I pretty much always end with these like disgusting bugs, but the earlier stream was even worse. If they don't work, you have 1,500 new friends. Yeah, the only worry I have with the ladybugs is if my wife sees a bunch of ladybugs upstairs, she's not going to be happy. So I'll try ladybugs. I think I can contain most of them. Let me get the big giant pothos. Alright, this is a beast. I don't even know how to like set this up. It don't really fit on the table here. It keeps falling. I have it like, it's like leaning and it falls over like 3 times a day. It drives me nuts. Where's the fence-rated one? Let's get that one on camera. Look at this beauty. I mean, it's huge. These leaves are absolutely massive. You can tell next to my body how big this really is. I'm waiting for the new leaf to start poking out here. Eventually it will. But this pothos is just insane. This is also one of my favorite plants because it's just been so fun. I mean, compared to my body, it's just ridiculous. Look at this. Oh, you can't see that one. This is the big one right here. It's just huge. It's as long as my arm, or my forearm. A little longer. Nuts. I love this thing. Ooh. Alright, I think that's about it. What else is there? Oh, this is kind of cool. That's chaos. There, I got one more plant that's kind of interesting because I did post about this on Instagram, and I think I did a short about this as well. But this philodendron silver sword is actually flowering, which is really cool. They haven't opened yet, so I'm kind of waiting, but we'll turn it around. You can see the seam from there. So it either already did or it will. And my hands are like so full of this sap. I don't even know what that is. I have like this shiny stuff on my hand. Whatever. So there's 2 flowers right now. One little guy. Which one's blocking the camera? And the bigger one, I'm going to try and keep pollen. But I really don't know how to do these that well. This one was like growing up this little 3D printed thing I made. So this is like a... This is one of the older prototypes. I don't like it anymore. But... there's much better ones out there. But yeah, these flowers look so cool. They're so alien-like. I'm kind of hoping to breed philodendron too now since I'm seeing flowers. Alright, let's see what we're all saying here because there's a lot of comments. You need some Crocs for the grow room. You're darn right. They're so nice. What are we talking about being rare? What did I show? Did I show something recently? I honestly can't remember what I just showed you, but I don't really have too many rare things. MSG. No, it started as a thick node, and I've just been so lucky with that pothos, honestly. What would... the star of the channel. Yeah, honestly, it really is. I love that pothos plant. It's so fun. Yes. Alright, let's catch up. Very interesting to see what the flower looks like when it opens. Yeah, I think they open like in the morning and then they like close back up. So that's what makes it tough. What's its name, sir? This is a philodendron silver sword. Let me show you the foliage. It's really cool. Really get some big ears. That's why I like it. Like the shape of the leaf is fantastic. So I like it. It's really sticky right now. Can you see all that sap? I hate this. Like hands come out like so filthy. Yeah, silver sword really became a plant I love too. It started out kind of basic, you know. It always has that nice blue silver color, but as it matures and it gets those big ears, it's so nice. Good morning. Hey, what's up? Muckies? Muckies? I'm doing alright, how are you? We're about to actually end the stream soon, so I'm sorry if you're showing... what time is it? Yeah, it's getting pretty late. I gotta go pretty soon. I don't think my family texted me or anything, but I don't want to make everyone wait too much. Love that pothos. It's flowering because it's stressed. I think it's flowering just because it's mature at this point. Like once they climb enough, they hit this like maturity, then they flower. I don't think you can like cause like philodendrons and anthurium to stress flower. Well, I shouldn't say that because I know all the like grocery store ones, they use a chemical on them to induce it. But I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not an expert on this, but I'm pretty sure most philodendron won't flower until they're like, what do you want to call it? Mature. Upper Aquatics. I feel like I've seen this channel before. I think you're a YouTube channel, aren't you? Let's find out. Paste it in. Upper Aquatics. Yeah, I'm subscribed to you. I think you've commented on my videos before. My fish tanks, I still only have one running. So the big problem right now with the fish tanks, I want to have more, but I got to run water from the well and from my tap to mix the hard water and soft water. And I need to get it in the grow room. I have a lot of fish tanks in the back. I want to get them going, but I don't want to be carrying buckets for water changes all the time. It is way too much work and I don't have the time for it. So once I'm going to run some water back into the grow room where I can like pump it in and out and have a big reservoir, because I want to keep the fish water for planting my plants. I want to build this whole system, but it's like just time, you know. That's the problem. So once I get the water situation figured out, I'm going to go ham with the fish tanks because I think fish tanks are so cool. I love fish tanks. But yeah, right now it's too hard. I got to get a water system set up. $200 for a silver sword, Jess? That is nuts. Don't buy that. They're like $5 or $6 at some places now. People are finding they're really cheap. They're really common. I would never pay $200 unless you're buying like a 6-foot mature specimen. Don't spend that kind of money. It's worth getting if you get it for 10, 15 bucks. Heck, even 20 bucks is worth it. It's a really cool plant. But don't spend $200. That's ridiculous. Oh, what else we got here? Yeah, I found that when you get this thing on a pole, so like once it rooted into this like moss pole, it went crazy. Is it cracked? Oh no. Once it rooted in there, it really like got big. A lot of the older leaves fell off and stuff, which I'll probably chop it. But you can see like the size increase here. So this is very narrow here, and once it started rooting, it thickened up really fast, you know, really thick. And now it's at a mature phase. It's the sad thing is it's not rooting anymore. I need to cut this and pot it up and get it climbing again with my new design. But yeah, once they mature up, they start flowering, and it should keep flowering, I think. I wonder if these are like anthurium, where every new leaf you can get a flower. I don't know. There's so much I have to learn. But yeah, I love silver sword. They're so cool. They're so pretty. Yeah, $199. That's crazy. Honestly, most nurseries are so overpriced. I mean, I get it because they have a business they have to run, so it's expensive. But I go to this one, and every time I'm just like, oh my god, I'm not spending $65 on a plant that you can get for like $20 at Walmart or something, you know. Hey, what's up, Muculus? Nice to meet you from Indonesia. I'm kind of jealous of where you live because you have a whole lot of awesome tropical plants like just growing in the woods, basically. So that's awesome. I want to visit Indonesia. I want to visit the Philippines. I'm so sad because back in the day I went to like Vietnam, Laos. I literally hiked in the jungle. I can't even make this up. It was so cool. I knew one of my friends was a missionary there. We got to hang out with her students. We went back to their like coffee farm, their like village. Went into this freaking jungle with this amazing waterfall. I wish I had to find the video. I've never seen a waterfall so big in my life. All these like pink flowers all around like the base. Like there's like banana trees in the jungle, but I didn't know about plants like I do now. I could have looked around so much. I miss that I like didn't know about plants. I spent a lot of time in Southeast Asia, and I could have like really, if I knew more, it'd be fun. But yeah. So this 3D printed pole the pot is actually like integrated where you can screw it into the pot. So when I release my other design, I'll do the same thing. So they're all separate. This top piece can be unscrewed. This piece can be unscrewed. It's like a modular design. I never released them because I don't like this design. There's a company called Planty, nothing against them, but theirs are like this too, and they dry out too fast. It's only good in like inside of one of those like enclosed spaces because they just dry out. I don't like them. Too much upkeep. The ones with the closed back are much better. And I think they released one like that. But I've got so much to talk about with this 3D printed stuff, and I will get to that eventually, but I just don't have the time. Yeah, mine aren't that long. Let me just hold it up to my head. I mean, I think they're probably 12 inches. The biggest one maybe 14, but I think they can get pretty big. I think that's it, guys. I keep talking and extending this thing. Yeah, and they get wider too. Mine's a little weird. I think I need to get it growing. But anyways, thanks to everyone that came out to this stream and viewed and participated. Without you guys putting stuff in the chat, this would be a really boring stream. So I really appreciate everyone who shows up continuously, puts in all this helpful information. I think we learned a bunch about all the different insects you can get. A bunch of cool orchids were talked about. That's what's so cool about this stuff. You guys have really cool things to talk about as well. So I will try and get us set up with a browser so when you guys talk about other plants, we can all talk about them. I can put them on screen. I think that'll be really cool if I can show more of your guys' stuff too, and we can really participate as a group. I think it's really fun. I really like this because we're all like chit-chatting and having a good time. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this stream. Again, thanks for coming, guys. As always, may your plants grow strong and healthy, and we'll see you next time.